Let me start with a question. How much money do you think you'll need to retire comfortably? A million? 2 million? Or maybe you're like the 1 in 3 Americans who have absolutely nothing saved for retirement and are hoping for a miracle. Or maybe a winning lottery ticket. If you're thinking, hey, I'll just figure it out when I get there, let me hit you with a cold, hard truth. Retirement doesn't wait for anyone. And if you don't have a plan, you're setting yourself up for some serious regrets. In today's video, I'm going to share some shocking retirement stats that you absolutely need to know. Some of them will make you laugh, others will scare you, but all of them will make you rethink how you're preparing for your future. So, grab a coffee, sit back, and let's dive in. Because trust me, what you're about to learn could change your life. All right, let's start with the big one. Did you know that 1 in 3 Americans have zero saved for retirement? That's not an exaggeration. Zero, nada, zilch. Let's put that into perspective. Imagine working your entire life, 30, 40, even 50 years, only to realize you have no financial cushion when you finally stop working. What happens then? Are you going to depend on Social Security? Because here's another shocker. The average Social Security benefit in 2024 is just $1,827 per month. That's barely enough to pay rent in most cities, let alone cover food, healthcare, and all the other little things that life throws at you. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but I've got some time to figure it out. And while that might be true, the longer you wait, the harder it gets. Let me give you a quick example of why starting early matters. If you save just $200 a month starting at age 25 and invest it with a 7% return, you'll have over $500,000 by the time you're 65. But if you start at 45, that number shrinks to just $100,000. Big difference, right? Here's where it gets even crazier. We're living longer than ever before. Thanks to advances in medicine and technology, it's not uncommon for people to live well into their 90s or even hit 100. And while that's amazing, it also means your retirement savings need to last a lot longer. But here's the thing. 50% of retirees underestimate how long they'll live. Most people plan for 10 to 15 years of retirement, but what happens if you live for 30? Your money runs out, and now you're relying on your kids, extended family, or, you guessed it, credit cards. Think about this. If you retire at 65 and live to 95, that's 30 years of living expenses, healthcare costs, and inflation eating away at your savings. Speaking of inflation, have you thought about how much that impacts your retirement? Let me put it this way. $1 million today might sound like a lot, but in 20 years, thanks to inflation, that might feel like $600,000. Imagine having your buying power cut almost in half. Scary, right? Now, let's talk about one of the sneakiest retirement costs, healthcare. If you think Medicare is going to cover everything, think again. The average retired couple spends over $315,000 on healthcare during retirement. That's not just a number. That's the price of a house in many parts of the country. And it doesn't stop there. Prescription drug costs, long-term care, and even dental work can all add up. Here's a scary stat. 70% of people over 65 will need some form of long-term care. Whether that's a nursing home, assisted living, or home care, the cost can be astronomical. And guess what? Medicare doesn't cover most of it. I know most of you are thinking, I'll just stay healthy and avoid all that. That's great. But let's be realistic. Health problems can come out of nowhere. And the older you get, the higher the likelihood something will happen. Let me hit you with another jaw-dropping stat. 48% of workers haven't even calculated how much money they'll need to live comfortably in retirement. That's nearly half of the workforce just winging it, hoping everything magically works out. Imagine going on a road trip without checking how far you need to go or how much gas is in your tank. That's exactly what these people are doing, except this isn't just a weekend trip. This is the rest of your life we're talking about. Now, why do so many people avoid crunching the numbers? Some might say it's too complicated. Others might feel like they're too far behind to even bother. And then there are those who just plain don't want to think about it because it's too scary. But here's the thing. Ignorance isn't bliss when it comes to retirement. If you don't know your number, how will you ever know if you're on track? Or worse, if you're heading straight for financial disaster? Before we dive into some of the most shocking retirement stats you've ever heard, take a second to like this video and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and it helps us bring you more content like this that can literally change your financial future. Plus, you don't want to miss out on any of the tips and strategies we've got lined up to help you crush your retirement goals. All right, ready? Let's get into it. Okay, let's switch gears a little. It's not all doom and gloom. In fact, more and more people are taking control of their financial futures in ways that were unheard of a generation ago. Have you heard of the FIRE movement? It stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. The idea is simple: save aggressively, invest wisely, and retire while you're still young enough to enjoy it. But before we dive too deep into FIRE, let's sprinkle in some shocking new facts to put things into perspective. First of all, have you thought about pensions? Forget about it. In the 1980s, nearly 60% of workers had access to a traditional pension. Today, that number has dropped to just 4%. This means the majority of people are now solely responsible for saving and planning for their own retirement. It's a seismic shift, and not everyone has caught up. Here's a wild one. The median retirement savings for people aged 55 to 64 is just $120,000. Let's break that down. If you withdraw 4% annually, the so-called safe withdrawal rate, that's only $4,800 a year, or $400 a month. Can you imagine living on $400 a month? That's not even close to covering basic living expenses in most places. Retirement costs are soaring. By 2040, experts predict the average annual cost of living for retirees could reach $87,000 per year. And that's just to maintain a modest lifestyle, not luxury cruises or beachfront condos. Now, multiply that by 20 to 30 years of retirement, and you can see why even $1 million nest egg might not feel like enough anymore. Now, back to the FIRE movement. The beauty of FIRE isn't just the promise of retiring early. It's the ability to combat these terrifying statistics head on. While most people are struggling to save even 10% of their income, FIRE enthusiasts are saving upwards of 50% to 70%. They're not just planning for retirement, they're planning for freedom. And if you're thinking, that's impossible for me, think again. Start small. Even increasing your savings rate by just 5% can add tens of thousands of dollars to your retirement fund over time. Every little bit counts. Let these stats be a wake-up call, not to scare you, but to inspire you. Because whether you're dreaming of retiring early or just retiring comfortably, the time to act is now. To like this video and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and it helps us bring you more content like this that can literally change your financial future.